Hey everybody, I've decided to come on and make a third video for now regarding the Carus chemical fire situation, the Apollo warehouse, and things going forward. Don't know how many I'll do of these. Right now, it's important to me to help keep supporting this cause and keep moving momentum forward. So again, let's touch on a few topics about the situation and go from there. First, I want to address that I have been reaching out to different levels of people in authority. Lance Yednock's office has had a little bit of correspondence with me. I know that I have been provided the air filter test results from the residents of LaSalle. Have not gotten a response back as to their thoughts on that or what they plan to do with it, if anything. But again, reaching out to some different levels, reaching out to a few people on the county board. And I'm going to touch on something about that. And that is that one of the people who I have a lot of respect for, once I brought up the name Jamie Hicks, said, nope, done with the conversation, walking away from it. Don't care to be a part of any of this stuff if Jamie Hicks is the source. And, you know, that only takes us so far, in my opinion, as far as, Jamie's been a loudmouth before. Oh, Jamie swears too much. Oh, Jamie, is chasing down these different rabbit holes and stuff. That's fine if you want to take that approach and stuff. But when this continues and more comes out and you, want to claim that you didn't know and what have you, well, that's not going to fly with me and with others, with certain people, certain positions, because ignorance is bliss. And if you're just choosing to ignore the situation, then that's to me the same as, as siding with Carus on this whole thing. If you're not willing to open yourself up to some of the information in that, then just remember that when history shows itself down the line here, that you took that approach, and I'm sorry to hear that that's the approach you're going to take simply because it's Jamie Hicks and you don't like him or respect him or whatever it is. So, it's one of the reasons that I continue to talk about it, because I would hope that if I'm reaching out to you and know you have enough respect for me to listen to some of the points that I'm making and some of the things we're talking about. So again, we'll see where it goes down the line here, but that's kind of where I feel on that topic. So the biggest thing for me with all this stuff has been that I've said from the beginning, do the right thing, Carus. Again, I was one that told some of the residents and family members of mine, hey, give them time, give the Carus and the city the time to figure this stuff out, respond to it properly and stuff. And that has just gone sideways from day one now that I think back about it. The fact that Carus and the city told you to clean up your own stuff, go out there, water it all down, throw a little vinegar and whatever else on it, and it'll all be just fine. How they took that approach, again, and didn't own any responsibility on Carus's end, I have no idea. If the answer to everything was go water your yards down or what have you, then Carus should have brought in some water tanker trucks or whatever it is and stuff, because again, this was their fire that created the situation, not something any of the residents did themselves. So Carus should have taken some steps, shown the community they really did care about them, and do some of these things instead of just telling you, take care of it yourself, you're fine, everything's fine. They have continued to say that they will not pay for any further testing, do anything above and beyond anything that's absolutely required of them. You're talking about a $73 million revenue company that won't spend another dollar for an air filter test, for a soil test, for anything. Myself, my brother, Jamie Hicks, other people have put it out there that, hey, if you find that your filters are black and you want to have that air filter tested and you don't have the $60 to do it, we're willing to help pay some of that to help that done so people can feel like they know what's going on in their own households and yards and that they're safe. A $73 million company won't spend $60, but we will. What's that tell you about that company and what they really think of the community? It tells me a lot. So, while we have residents that are worried about their air quality, their safety, we have people like Carus that are simply worried about whether or not they're getting their bonus checks. And I'm going to tell you, we're never going to use names, but there are people inside, outside of Carus and stuff that are giving us information because they're kind of upset as well as to how Carus not only is treating the residents, but how they treat some of their own employees. So to give a little credence to that, I can tell you that there's one gentleman at Carus that is more concerned about whether or not he's getting his bonus check because he wants to be able to fulfill the promise to his wife to finish their basement. He wants to have a finished basement. Hey, that's great. Some of the residents of LaSalle want clean yards that their kids can play in, clean yards that the dogs can go out in. They want to have air filters that are not filled with copper, barium, magnesium, mercury, things like that. That's what they want. Bonuses and finished basements would be nice, but that's what they want at the basic level. So, again, Whether or not Carus is actually sending out adjusters now, that's one of the things I've been pounding my fist about as well, that people shouldn't have to be climbing on their own roofs, looking at their own gutters, going out and taking pictures of their cars, their decks, their whatever and stuff, and try to help themselves file a claim with the Davis group or Davies group, whatever it is. Said from the beginning, take ownership. If you're really going to possibly have some claims, get some adjusters out here and do it the right way. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. I don't know anybody that's had a claim seen all the way through yet, and this was how many weeks, months ago now that this fire happened. So again, time will tell what they're going to do with that. I think that they've been trying to avoid it all and pay as little as possible. So that will continue, in my opinion. Carus broke the trust of the residents of LaSalle, should have broken their trust with the city to where the city is firing on all cylinders, questioning everything about them right now, instead of just taking their word on everything. The latest example is that they said it would take 4 trucks to get everything out of the Apollo warehouse. They've already had 13 and it's still not empty. Now, I lived a few short years in the logistics world, and I could tell you that people know how many semis it takes for how much product they've got somewhere. So to say that it's going to take 4 semis and it's already been 13 and you're still not done, again, just a blatant, outright misleading statement that they made, a total lie. If it wasn't for people following this stuff and recording it, again, you wouldn't be catching this stuff. As far as when did Carus Chemical start using the Apollo warehouse, when they start putting chemicals in there, I have no idea. I don't know if the city knows. I really don't. I do know that from research that the city gets, and the fire chief gets a copy of that Tier 2 report every year. So does the LaSalle County Emergency Management Group. And I do want to take a step back from something I said in an earlier video now that we're talking about LaSalle County Emergency Management Group. Fred Moore, I went and visited Fred and his deputy director assistant. The 3 of us had a good conversation. He was very upfront about things. How I feel about things with him now and how Jamie Hicks feels are 2 different things. Jamie's had direct conversations with him and such that he feels he was lied to on some things. What I'm looking at is that Jamie was given something from the city that had a bunch of things on there as far as responses or reports or information. And then later he got one that had a paragraph on the backside that then admitted that Fred had seen 55-gallon drums. He said to me that he's always admitted he saw 55-gallon drums, and if that's what he's saying, then I'm going to go with that for now. He said, possibly Jamie just had confused different conversations. He's talking to so many different people, and that is true. Jamie's talking to a lot of different people at a lot of different levels. So, maybe Brent Bader photocopied that sheet that he gave to Jamie and maybe didn't realize that paragraph was on the backside. I don't know. But I want to confirm one thing, and that is that Illinois LaSalle County Emergency Management Group is really just a support organization. They don't have authority. So he's not lying when he says he doesn't have the authority to demand to go in to see Carus Chemical's warehouse. They are a support group that comes in and does things like gets support from the Salvation Army or the Red Cross. They set up an emergency command station, things like that, whatever the city or fire chief or whatever asked them to do. So I kind of want to back off of them as a focus at all because they don't have authority. But they also confirmed for me that the fire chief does have the authority to go in there. So if LaSalle's fire chief is saying he didn't know what was in there, didn't know there was chemicals, doesn't have the authority to go in there and such and everything, to me, that's one of 2 things. Either fire chief does not understand his authority and can do his job, or he's just not willing. Either way, you've got to look at that position and look at a change and move forward with somebody who's willing to do that job and do that for the residents of LaSalle. Another part with that warehouse, I don't want to focus too much on Apollo because I'm hoping that it's going to be emptied out and it's going to be an issue that's not going forward in the future. But the last piece about the Apollo warehouse is that, we did have an officer go in there, and Jamie Hicks has been denied that body cam footage. They've given him a report about him going in there that day, but they won't release the body cam footage saying that it's part of an ongoing investigation is what they're using the excuse of. You could bring this all to rest by releasing that body cam footage, showing exactly what's in that warehouse, since there are so many different versions, so many different stories. If you want to show that Jamie's wrong and lying, release that video. Maybe it shows he's lying, maybe it shows he's exactly right. But if you're going to hide the video, then everybody's going to go on what they think they know. I'm going to talk real quick about the manganese and potassium levels from the the product that fell that day of the fire. I'll put the picture again that I screenshotted of what was discussed in one of the early meetings in the City of LaSalle, talking about the magnesium and potassium levels compared to what's considered safe and acceptable, and it's just off the charts. So again, for them to say, oh, everything's fine, just wash it all down, water it all down, it's just not an acceptable response to me. The elections, and I'm sorry if I'm talking fast. I'm trying to keep these videos short because I know that people don't have 45 minutes or an hour of time to touch on this stuff. So I try to hit the highlights and give you another angle than from what Jamie's videos do. He's giving you more of the actual FOIA reports, the emails, the reports from the EPA ECHO and toxic release inventory and stuff like that. And if you want that detail, I'm going to point one video out exactly that touched on some of that. And that is his video from Thursday, 10:14 a.m. So I'm giving you exactly where to look. That talks about the EPA ECHO and some of the toxic release inventory and reports that are on there. And it's talking about some of these chemicals that we're finding in the yards. Were part of the EPA cleanup that we just had in LaSalle and now are, again, being found in the air filters of these residents that got their test results on that. That's important. How, again, that we can have 2 Superfund sites, cleanups in LaSalle, and now have things like this chemical fire that dropped product on these residents. And the air filters have these test results showing all these different heavy metals, including mercury, potassium, copper, barium. And how people want to say, nothing to see here, blow it off, let's move on, is just beyond me. But as far as, I'm going to put a little picture again, like I said, in the comments under here to show you about those levels so that hopefully some people pay attention to that as well. The elections that are coming up. Again, very important. I'm not going to go into specific people, specific election, wards, stuff like that in this video. But I am going to say to those people that are running for new positions, don't sit this topic out. It might not be an easy topic, but that's what this job is going to be from time to time. So do some research, ask questions. Don't sit this topic out because I think that there are going to be a lot of residents that this is going to be the topic that they vote on. So again, if you really want that spot, do a little research on this topic and help yourself out. Friend requests on Facebook. I've accepted a couple. I typically do not accept friend requests from people that I don't know or haven't had a person-to-person, face-to-face conversation with, just because most of my life with my family, I'm not inviting outsiders or drama or things like that into it. So please don't be offended if you sent me a Facebook friend request and I've not accepted it. Until we have some other connection beside this topic, I try not to go there. It doesn't mean I won't respond to you if you send me a direct message, because I have responded to people in that. But again, that's just how I kind of tend to operate. Last thing I want to talk about is Monday's meeting at the City Hall in LaSalle. The Sierra Club is coming down, and these are the people that have been helping the residents of LaSalle get things tested, get results, give them guidance and direction and stuff. And they're going to come talk about this stuff. The people that are trying to talk like me or Jamie or other people in that, my brother, we're not experts in this stuff, but these guys are much more well-versed, have a bigger background and expertise in this area. So if you really want some answers, come to that meeting and find out what they have to say about things that are going on. You won't see anybody from Carus there. You won't hear anything from anybody from Carus. They brought in a PR firm now to handle all their media relations and stuff and everything. So they're going to have everything filtered, try to do the best job, paint the prettiest picture they can. But again, $73 million company that won't help to pay for $60 air filter tests or get some more soil samples done. They're done with it. They're already moving on. So be informed, speak out, be there for your friends and relatives that live in these areas of town that are affected, because they're going to keep digging and find out if this goes much, much deeper. So again, appreciate those of you who are standing up on this topic and showing support for the people that are concerned for their health and well-being, because nothing, no profit in anything comes before that. All right? Take care.